Arm wrestling is all about working with what we've got. The equipment, the environment, the time. It shapes how we train. So from resistance bands to dumbbells to rigs to a sturdy table, this all plays part in our progress. We just got to keep pushing with consistent effort. The real issue happens is when we push a bit too far and we injure ourselves. But I'm not gonna let that happen to you guys because I wanna make sure your wrists are as healthy as possible. So I'll be talking about 3 really amazing ways to improve your wrist mobility, especially if you're feeling the tightness, compression, or pain in the rear part of the extensor side of your wrist. So a few signs of this is if you can no longer do a push-up, get too much pain, you may have some poor mobility. So let's get started. I'll start with the 2 exercises, and I do these religiously every single day. I went to a physical therapist for these, and it was given to me as my homework, and they do make a big difference. All right, so as you can see over here, I have some resistance bands tied off to the wall, and then I have this karate belt tied to the resistance bands. If you want, you can do this with just resistance bands. I prefer having the belt. It just feels more stable to me. I did try both ways though. So first step, what you're gonna do is you're going to first put this smaller orange belt through, and I'll tell you why later. And then you're gonna have your arm go through the bottom, and you're gonna have the belt on your wrist above the, this bony area, because what we're gonna do is try to spread apart the wrist and improve wrist mobility, right? So now this is gonna help tighten this up so that we can really secure the wrist. So you're gonna spin this around a few times and then you're just gonna hold on to it, right? Now, depending on where your wrist is hurting, maybe more on this side, but that's how you'd wanna put the pressure. And this is something you're gonna have to feel out. So mine is more so right here by the thumb. And you're gonna start pulling, right? So as you're pulling, you wanna feel really good stretch. You kinda wanna just relax, and you're gonna start like supinating, pronating. You're gonna do this for about 20 reps. So each supination, pronation is 1, right? And you wanna just really, yank on it, get some good pressure. This is like step 1 to getting the mobility going, right? So you're gonna combine this exercise with the next exercise, and I'll show you the next one right now. All right, so for this one, you're gonna wanna look for a flat surface. It could be a table, it could be even a chair or some kind of bench. I'm using this like safety pin here, or safety bar for my squat rack. And you're gonna lay your injured hand flat on the surface, and you're gonna make like a cup with your other opposite hand, and you're gonna secure the wrist. So you're gonna be pushing at this direction underneath the bone as a way to separate it. And then with your left side of your body, you're gonna be pulling upward like a row. So as you're pulling upward, you're gonna start feeling the separation, and then you're gonna wanna lean into your hand, kind of like you're trying to stretch it out, because this is gonna really help you like push-ups later on. So pull up, lean forward. So the action will look like this. And this one is going to be very painful, but if you do it for a minute or so, the pain goes away and you feel a lot better afterwards. So I do this exercise. So I do the first one I show you, I do this one. And then when I was injured, I did this about 10 times a day. Randomly, just whenever you have the free time, just do a set. I do one in the morning, I do one during lunch break, after a snack, it doesn't matter. And then over the course of a month, right? So this is slow progress, but for improvement. Over the course of the month, you're going to see reduce in pain, you're gonna have more mobility, and then eventually you're gonna be not injured anymore. So these two are very important. And now I'll be moving on to the third one. So for the last one, I can't quite show you myself because it's a service that you would have to request with your physical therapist, right? So I would recommend finding your local clinic and call them up and ask for dry needling and also ask for electric dry needling. So there is a difference between the two. So dry needling, they poke you a bunch of times in very specific spots to promote little tears or holes so your body can send its own blood supply and resources to help heal you faster, because some parts in the wrist actually have a very poor blood supply, and no matter how many times you're cranking your reps, you'll never get enough blood in there to actually promote healing. That's one. And then my favorite one, electric dry needling. Now this video is about wrists, but this electric dry needling will work pretty much anywhere. Wrists, hands, elbows. If you have tendon issues in your elbows or shoulders or bicep, it can be done. So what they do is they stick the needle in it, they attach some, I think like an electrode, if that's the term, I don't know, kind of like the car battery kind of style, and they turn on a little machine to send the flow through. And when that flow goes through, your muscle starts to spasm on its own. It's kind of like doing its own workout, but on a much deeper level. So it forces, first it forces brain signals to pay attention to this area because it's sending electricity. It's promoting, it's flexing the muscle consistently. It's promoting blood flow in areas that it's not, usually going to, the blood is supposed to reach. And if you combine this along with the two first exercises that I showed you, this will be like a much quicker way to recover. So now one more thing, pricing. So obviously pricing varies depending on the clinic, but it's very affordable. Dry needling and electric dry needling is not as involved. The therapist doesn't need to be with you the whole time in order to get the job done. They can actually walk away, work with other patients. And because of this, it's cheaper. So I personally pay about $25 a session, and I don't really need more than 4 sessions. So over the course of a month, 1 session per week. After a month, everything, I don't know, my brain sends the signals perfectly, everything clicks together, and I'm like back to normal. Highly recommend this. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I hope whoever is suffering with wrist issues is able to resolve them sooner than later. All right, so that pretty much sums up what I wanted to talk about. It is a very, very sensitive area, the wrist, the hand. This is something that just really needs to be developed. It takes years. Some people are genetically gifted, just have a really strong hand. I mean, look at some of the superstars from East versus West, right? But as long as you're mindful and you have a course of action for proper recovery from just workouts or injuries, you guys will be just fine. So I really hope, what I discussed today about alternative measures that you might not typically do, you might be open for it. It might really help you out, especially if you're suffering with that kind of wrist injury. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Peace.